tone, actually.
It really does.
But thank you guys so much for coming out to the program tonight. We are Rebecca Hall and Ken Anderson, otherwise known as Hungrytown, and we're going to play a program of, I think almost all the songs are originals that we wrote together, so we'll explain a little bit about the inspiration.
No, one isn't.
One is not. Behind most of the songs as we go through. So we live in southern Vermont, and we're down here doing a few shows in Massachusetts and Connecticut for the next couple of days. So we're going to start off here with, these are a couple of songs that we wrote just about our home state of Vermont, or just sort of New England in general. The first one we wrote after a really cold winter when we were looking ahead to the arrival of spring, and it's called Lucille, Lucille.
It was a little spring-like, wasn't it?
I know, it was like eerily
like almost
spring-like.
like mid-50s.
Yeah.
I can totally deal.
This is Lucille, Lucille. Lucille, Lucille, I'm coming home to take you for a ride. These winter days have ground me down, and I long to see you smile. Lucille, Lucille, I don't know why this world should treat me so. For all my sins I must have paid by now. Why won't they let me go? Lucille, Lucille, you teach the sun to swim across the sky. You make the rivers all to run, and the autumn wind to sigh. A man would walk 1,000 miles to stand outside your door. I want you to turn your pretty head and smile on me once more. Thank you. So, Ken and I we do have a little house in southern Vermont near Brattleboro, out in the countryside, but we spend most of our time away from home because that's how we make our livings, traveling around playing music. So last year, I think we only spent 4 months at home. We're usually like 8 months away every year.
No, that's this year.
Oh, is it? Okay. Time is just going by me. But,
Like middle of November.
middle of November.
How did that happen?
But yeah, so, but you know, we try to be home in the autumn if we can, because that's just a really nice time of year. It's strange though. It's like if we haven't been there in a while, we almost feel like we're not too different from the other tourists coming to Vermont at that time of year. And
We don't get lost as much.
we don't, yeah, exactly. We were sitting on our porch one autumn afternoon when we got the idea to write this next song. So some of the imagery in it is just sort of an ode to nature and beautiful scenery, but it also, you know, it always really helps me when I'm writing if I can imagine characters or a story in the background. So the story in this song is that there's a young couple that meet and fall in love, and then one of them has to go off and serve in a war. So the song is kind of a farewell to home and familiar surroundings, loved ones before heading off into the unknown. And this is called November Song, so kind of seasonal.
That's right.
All right, yes.
I do. Full.
shines the color in my true love's eyes. Summer grass, it grows green and high. Bows before her when she walks by. November chill turns the fields to gold. I hate to leave her, but I'm bound to go. Jumping high, you can catch the sun. Turn the clock back when the day is done. Teach the sea to forsake the shore. Stop the young men marching on to war. Through the hills as the streams do flow. That's the way she always seems to go. As autumn trees burn against the sky, so shines the color in my true love's eyes. I don't know if you noticed on your way in, there's a blue van parked out in the parking lot, and that is our camper
awesome.
van. Yeah, we're doing a few shows, sort of Massachusetts and Connecticut, and we thought, it's actually pretty warm. Let's just bring the camper van and we can hang out.
Although it does have a heater, it's fully equipped for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Solar panels on the roof.
Yeah. It's
10 years old, 241,000 miles.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's we were encouraged because when we brought it in for servicing, we met another Sprinter owner that had one that had 550.
700,000.
Yeah. He had two.
And his new one had only 500,000.
Right, a mere 500,000 miles. So.
That was in Indiana.
But yeah, so we do a big cross country tour every year during the winter, which we've called the Further West Tour for obvious reasons. And we've been doing that tour since, I guess, 2007 or something. It keeps us out of trouble until about April or May when we come back home. And so we just came out with an album last year named after our tour because we just had a lot of songs that were observations about our travels or reasons why other people travel, or even, there's just this thing, I guess it's almost like part of the American psyche, this sort of like westward migration, heading west as this direction of optimism.
It's also the direction that the Europeans followed to make it to the New World.
Yeah. So we're gonna
romantically charged.
It is very much so, and part of the sort of like the romantic American myth. But anyway, we have a few songs that we're gonna play from our new album next. This first one is about a young girl whose life kind of becomes a mess. So she decides to move someplace new where nobody knows her, hoping that she can just kind of hit reboot and start her life all over again. Doesn't always work out that neatly, but anyway. This is called Hard Way to Learn.
Are you ready?
Ken used to be a rock drummer, so you may notice him saying, "Are you ready?" a lot. That helped him.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hard way back for a couple of weeks. Our most recent overseas tour, we went to the British Isles for a couple of months, and we've been doing tours in the UK every year for several years going back now. But this was the first time that we ever did any shows in Ireland, and that was really exciting for us. We really only had a couple of gigs booked, and we thought, well, we'll just, at least it's an excuse to go and see the countryside, and then we'll go and do our UK tour afterwards. And then just almost like a couple of weeks before we were getting ready to go to Ireland, we got a last minute request from a couple of complete strangers who, they live in Hollywood, but they were born in Ireland and they wanted to get married in Ireland. And they asked us to play at their wedding, and people that we didn't know at all.
Go figure.
I know. So.
Although it was awesome.
It was.
They're like movie people.
I know. It's funny. A really interesting, creative community of people. But yeah, it was so. But it was strange for us because, we at first were all excited, and then we started thinking about all our songs, and we're like, wow, a lot of these really aren't wedding appropriate at all, And so the set list kept getting.
You only heard a few, and you know
probably
that
have already figured it. Yeah, it's like it's really hard with folk songs to have something where somebody doesn't die at the end. It's just
or at the beginning,
or
somewhere. Somebody's untrue.
Yeah, I know. They're usually not the most optimistic. So our set list kept getting shorter and shorter. And then we got there and we were playing the party the night before the wedding, and it was actually just very fun and congenial. And so we decided to do a song that we had thought, okay, absolutely not, we're not going to do this one, it's so inappropriate. And it ended up being one of their favorite songs of the night, so it was very strange.
Or so they said.
They were nice, yeah. But you'll see why when you hear the first verse. This is called Don't You Let Me Down. truer friend you'll never find. Don't you let me down till the day I leave you all behind. Don't you let me down. So this next song is the only song in the program that we didn't write. When we were putting together the ideas for our Further West album, we thought that we have to do at least one Woody Guthrie song, because Woody,
the great American
folk songwriter, and especially
who didn't get a Nobel Prize.
I know, he should. But yeah, and his songs seem so well suited for the theme of the album because he wrote all the Dust Bowl ballads. If those of you that are familiar will know that. And he himself journeyed west with a lot of the other people from the Dust Bowl to try to find work in California. So a lot of the songs have that as a theme. So this one is one of his most beloved ballads, and we've kind of done our own arrangement of it. This is called Pastures of Plenty.
It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hoed. My poor feet have traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we roll. Your deserts were hot and your mountains were cold. I worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes. I slept on the ground in the light of the moon. On the edge of the city you'll see us, and then we come with the dust and we go with the wind. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert ground, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the waters run down. Every state in the Union us migrants have been. We work in this fight and we fight till we win. It's always we ramble that river and I. All along your green valley I work till I die. My land I defend with my life if it be. My pastures of plenty must always be free.
Thank you. Ah, yes.
Kind of backwards.
That's okay. That's good.
Yeah. So we played the party the night before the wedding over there in Ireland, and we weren't actually originally meant to play at the ceremony because the day that they were getting married, we had already had a gig booked in Belfast, and the wedding ceremony was taking place sort of a little bit closer to Dublin in the Republic. So anyway, we were on our way to our gig in Belfast in the next morning, and the bride and groom came up to us and they said, you know, we've decided that we actually don't want to have the old-fashioned wedding march at our wedding because we want to try something different, and we would really love it if you guys would just pick one of the songs that you've written that you
And
think.
we thought that, I mean, they would have learned after the previous.
None of our songs are. So then we had just a very short time to try to pick a song that was appropriate for the wedding itself. That was a little bit more stressful. And the other thing is, Ken and I have actually been married for 22 years. So we don't necessarily have the first flush of love songs anymore that we write. We have
More like hot flashes.
Yes, kind of. Very true, actually. But so then we thought, what can we? We don't have these sort of young love romantic songs, but we have this one song that is just about sort of trying to stay together even when times are tough. Trying to complement each other as much as you can, even though you have your differences. And we thought, well, actually, maybe that works for a wedding. So this is the one we ended up playing. And then it's also, it's really great if you're an American folk songwriter, if you have at least one song every set that mentions trains. So this kind of just ticks that box as well. This is called Rolling Train. Yes.
You'll never stop the wind, never stop the rain. wish I could take back those words I said. I never learned to quit while I'm ahead. But you never count the battles lost and won, or all of the cruel and foolish things I've done. You were a rolling train on a railroad track. You were the going forth and the coming back. You were sleeping down in the middle of the night, and I am a whistle blowing in the morning light.
I'm going to let Ken say a few words about this next song.
She's gonna let me say a few words. Do you get that?
Pretty nice of
They're
you.
just as well, because I tend to go off on tangents. You know, if I introduced every song, we'd still be on the first song. You know, as Rebecca has told you, we travel around a lot, and one of my favorite things to do is to spot old houses. I love old houses. I love what they did to this library, by the way, how they built this outside part around the original library, and they left the old wall on the inside. Beautiful place here at the George Peabody Library. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm an architecture nerd. I've read A Field Guide to American Houses all the way through, all 800 pages. And we own a little house up in Vermont. It's made out of wood, and it has its share of problems. After our last tour, the roof leaks a little. We got to get that fixed. A lot of silt in our water. Okay, wait, I should have brought the list. Anyway, but you know, home ownership, you know how it is. If you own a house, you know, you got to take care of them. We were thinking some years ago that people are kind of the same way, that if they are neglected, if they're ignored or excluded, it's almost like you're letting them crumble and turn to dust, like an old abandoned house. And we thought, well, there might be a song in there somewhere, so we managed to work one out, and it became the title track of one of our albums, and we'll play it for you now. It's called Any Forgotten Thing. Got a good length?
I liked it.
Okay.
Lately my hands don't Some things here can still be fixed, for others it's too late. But I can't be sure of what to keep and what to throw away. It's like living in the space between the winter and the spring. One season of uncertainty for every forgotten thing.
Earlier this year, I think it was July, we were touring through Pennsylvania and we passed this amazing old amusement park called Knoebels. It's kind of an institution there. And it's, I guess it's been around since what, the 1920s
Yeah,
or
I think
something?
26, 28.
Yeah, and there's a lot of modern rides, but there's also a lot of antique ones. Like we went on the new roller coaster, but to my mind it wasn't as scary as the rattly old wooden one. That's kind of, we went on all
The
of them.
wobbling is very important.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The ricketiness kind of like adds to the danger. But anyway,
I kept the cyclone going since
I
1927.
know, in Coney Island. So yeah, and there
Still
was,
my all-time favorite.
yeah, that's a good bone shaker. But there was also a beautiful old carousel there, 150 years old. And the great thing about those carousels, well, I was seated on one of the outside horses so that I was actually able to grab the ring as I went by. If you're not familiar with that, it's like
A couple of kids operate this metal contraption
Yeah.
with rings like that go down it, and if you come by on the outside horse, you have to get one of those rings and hopefully not leave your finger behind.
Yes, that's the
That's the trick.
goal.
Like little donuts.
Well, you're trying to get the brass one, and there's a lot of tin ones, but only one brass one, which I never have managed to get. But anyway, this is a song that we wrote that is sort of meant to evoke those old fairgrounds, old carousel rides, and it's about how life is a little bit like being on the carousel sometimes feels that way. And it takes its title from the antique instrument you would sometimes hear at those old fairgrounds and carousels, which is a steam whistle instrument called calliope.
Music of the carousel echoes a sweet refrain of fairground scenes from days gone by, and how we used to play. My horse is faded silver, yours is white and gold. Swiftly around the track we go, and where we'll stop, who's to know? You're always half a length ahead, no matter how well I ride. And the farther I stretch to grasp the ring, the more I start to slide. Play on, calliope. I hear you winding low. Our ride is only just begun. We've still got so far to go.
difficult thing for me always with every album that we've recorded. All of our albums, by the way, have 12 songs. It's just this little task we set ourselves, like
6 on each side.
Yeah, we just like it.
if it was an LP.
Right. Kind of, we're just old-fashioned that way. But anyway,
it has the right arc.
It does, and yeah, you can have like kind of one sort of a different feel on each side.
It can evolve
or something.
Through.
Yeah. The problem for me though is like I can get the first 11 songs okay, but it's that 12th song is always really hard. I don't know what it is, but it's difficult to finish artistic projects. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. And sometimes it's like you just don't want to let it go, or you're a little afraid.
Big deal. I mean, actually knowing when to call it quits. I mean, that happens, I guess, with painters too. It's like, when is it done?
Right. No. Yeah.
It must be like kind of like a postpartum thing happening. I don't know.
I
you
always
just have to like just leave it and just say that you're, this is going to be it.
And you're going to send it out into the world.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a little scary.
It's scary.
But anyway, so yeah, I always have a hard time trying to get that 12th song. And I was trying to finish our Any Forgotten Thing album a few years ago, and I just couldn't get a good idea for it. And if you don't have an idea, it's really hard to write. You can't. You have to have some. So
That's that old saying: in order to write something, you have to notice something.
Yeah, just observation.
That can be harder than it seems.
Harder than it seems. So anyway, I just wasn't getting anywhere. So I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna forget about this for a while, come back to it later, just live my life for a couple of weeks, and not even think about it. And then one night, I was standing in our kitchen watching the dishes and looking out the window at the night sky.
Sure, I thought it was me doing the dishes.
Not even. But yeah, there was a beautiful meteor shower that night, and I thought, it might be interesting to try to write a song where the main character is a falling star and just see how that goes. And we liked the result, so it ended up being our 12th song.
I saw one just the other night, making its way through the sky was a tiny light, just a falling star, a falling star, a falling star. I like to think it fell down to the ground, someplace safe, someplace it could be found. Just a falling star, a falling star, a falling star. Oh, little star, can you see me? Was it love that brought you down so easily? Just a falling star, a falling star, a falling star.
good to pay attention to the songs that people request and like. We were over in the UK and we had completely forgotten about this song. We just hadn't been playing it in a few years, and it just seemed like at every show where people that had previous albums all asked if we could play this song. And we thought, oh, okay, maybe we should relearn that one. So it's a pretty simple song. It's one that I wrote just when I was probably like worried about money or something. And I just got a little, as you do sometimes, you get little melodies in your head, and maybe it's a way of calming ourselves down when we're stressed out. But
well, it's kind of like a nursery rhyme.
yeah, this one is kind
This
of
one
like
in particular.
that. Yeah, and
Kids and grandkids seem to like it.
yeah.
At least a couple of YouTube videos of kids in cars singing this very song. Go figure.
It's pretty cool. So, yeah, it's just if you're the sing-along type, it's definitely that kind of song. And it starts off with a chorus. The chorus is very easy to pick up, so no pressure.
We're not even going to give you a sample. We're going to launch right in. It's called Sally Lazy.
Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Leave it trailing, trailing on the ground. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down.
Simple.
Worry too much, worry too hard to sleep. Worry too much, worry too hard to sleep. Had some friends, but none that I could keep. Worry too much, worry too hard to sleep. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Leave it trailing, trailing on the ground. Oh, Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Walk with me, oh, walk with me, oh, oh. Walk with me, oh, walk with me, oh, oh. I've been traveling such a lonely mile. Walk with me, oh, walk with me, oh, oh. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Leave it trailing, trailing on the ground. Oh, Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Keep on moving or you fall out of time. Keep on moving or you fall out of time. Got no rhythm, running out of rhyme. Keep on moving or you fall out of time. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Leave it trailing, trailing on the ground. Oh, Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Got no money, nowhere to lay my head. Got no money, nowhere to lay my head. So I'm gonna make you smile instead. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down. Sally Lazy, let your hair hang down.
lazy, let your hair hang.
Sally 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 lazy, let your hair hang down.
So earlier this year, I think it
Catchy, right? Good kid, really good kid song.
easy to sing along to. Earlier this year, we were on tour in Texas, and we were on our way to a show in Fort Stockton, which is West Texas, just a little town in the middle of the desert. And we're driving down the highway, and we had a massive tire blowout. And you know, it was a little scary at first, middle of nowhere, but then we thought, you know, we have a tire jack, this is no big deal. So we went and got the tire jack, and then it turned out to be the wrong size. So we thought, okay, still, it's okay, we have roadside service, we'll just call roadside service. So we called them, and they're like, yeah, we'll be right out. So we waited an hour, nobody. Waited another hour, nothing. And
in the middle of the desert. I don't think what the problem
I
was.
know.
That was very explicit.
I know.
Middle of the desert.
So we were in such a remote area that they just couldn't find us. And so, yeah, so eventually the guy came and fixed our tire and we got
And
out
here
of
we
there.
are.
And here, yeah, we lived to tell the tale. But you know, that's the thing with traveling in this country as opposed to being anywhere in Western Europe is like you just have these massive highways and wildernesses, and it's part of
Deserts.
yeah, it's part of what makes this country like really beautiful, that we have these wildernesses.
And a little bit scary.
And a little scary, like if you're ever stranded. So we wanted to write a
Oh,
song.
there would be long stretches like driving
Yeah.
through like, the Midwest or whatever.
Dakotas,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you can spend like most of the day without
Going
hardly
by
thinking
another
about it.
car, yeah.
Almost like being in Vermont.
Yeah. So we wanted to write a song that kind of had that feeling of just, driving down the
Just
highway.
constant motion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Just out in the wilderness somewhere. And this is called Static.
No lights on this highway, no reflectors, hard to see where we are turning now. Driving after midnight past the farmers who have put their fields to bed. Gone so far you'll never catch me now. Soon to be forgotten anyhow. The radio just crackles, only static anytime I think of tuning in. I know just how it feels to think you've lost whatever signal you once had. Gone so far you'll never catch me now. Soon to be forgotten anyhow. So far between the towns I can't remember when we last drove past a traffic light. Maybe we can get to California by the morning if we drive all night. Gone so far you'll never catch me now. Soon to be forgotten
people ask us, you know, why do you call yourselves Hungrytown? Isn't that kind of a strange name for a folk act? You know, shouldn't it be like a
Why do you call yourself Bob?
I know. See, some people have said it sounds like a website for to rate restaurants or something like Yelp.
It'd be a good name for a diner.
It would actually. So the story behind our name, we were recording our first album and we didn't have a name yet. And we were doing the recording in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, and every day we would drive to the recording sessions through the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, and we passed all these interestingly named places, and one of them was Hungrytown Road. And one day we had a little extra time and we thought, well, let's drive down and go into Hungrytown. But we were a little bit surprised when the road just ended. There was actually no
After
Hungrytown.
the first bend in the road, right?
Yeah, just a little dead end. And we Googled it, and it turned out to be on some old maps, but not on others. And we thought, like, did this place, Hungrytown, ever exist? You know, and what happened to all the inhabitants? So
Zombie apocalypse?
probably,
Perhaps.
Probably. The most likely scenario. But anyway, so we decided to write a song, Hungrytown Road, and it just has that sort of yearning to it. We're all kind of looking for that place where we
Probably
feel
goes
like,
west.
yeah, might go west, where we feel like we belong. And so this kind of became our theme song, and we got our name out of it as well. This is Hungrytown Road.
There's a road that leads out of this town, and one day gonna follow it down. I'm going down the Hungrytown road till I reach the place I belong. I got married when I was just a young girl, and I never seen much of the world, but I learned how to fight with the ones that I love, and to pay for the words that I said. There's a road that leads out of this town, and one day gonna follow it down. I'm going down the Hungrytown road till I reach the place I belong. Well, I saved and I worked every day, but I never seemed to look my way. It's too low a price for a life that's so dear, so I guess I'll be moving along. There's a road that leads out of this town, and one day
left for you. But I just want to let you know that we have some CDs for sale in the back of the room, t-shirts, tote bags, all sorts of stuff back there. You can also sign up for our monthly newsletter, which is called the News Dumpster. Ken
So you know,
writes it.
it's classy.
It's very classy, yes.
Let it roll into your inbox every month, we like to say.
Yes, and after that endorsement, I'm sure you all want to sign up for it. But anyway,
We download cards now,
we do. We're trying to be modern. That's
and we now have tote bags, and we now take plastic too.
yeah,
Totally
trying to be modern.
21st century.
Right, and you can also find us, please join us online at facebook.com/Hungrytown or hungrytown.net and stay connected that way.
Hungrytown.net should have come first.
Yeah.
Our website always comes first.
Anyway, we should finish up because I think the library closes at 8.
Doesn't matter. Only one song. It's only acapella.
Yes, this is one that
We'll just hang out here.
yeah, we're gonna finish up with it. This is an a cappella song that we wrote. It's about an Arctic wildflower called the blue star that only blooms just very briefly, just during the summer solstice, and then it's gone. So it's the kind of thing you have to just appreciate while it's there. And this is called The Sweetest Flower.
The sweetest flower I ever saw grows on the westward plain. The only boy I ever loved, I never may see again. The blue star blooms but once a year, when the sun shines bright in the sky. But if you pluck those flowers out, then they will surely die. And if you tell the one you love that you'll be no man's bride, he'll leave you sure as the sun will rise, as sure as the tears you'll cry. The flowers in my garden grow and bloom from spring to fall, but wildflowers grow just where they will and need no care at all. The sweetest flower I ever saw grows on the westward plain. The only boy I ever loved, I never may see again.
Thank you. We're Hungrytown.